Welcome to Dr. Jester Rants, and I'm gonna rant about this from Not the Bee. Well, it's quite frankly, I'm not quite going to rant much about the news, but I'm gonna use it as a segue to discuss the same subject. But still, take a look. Cosmopolitan, this is healthy. Fat. Landwhale, albeit this one is a bit of a woman Nixon, a black woman Nixon Landwhale, but still. CCP virus death rates 10 times higher in countries where most adults are overweight, report finds. Well, quite fascinating, isn't it? How things work in reality. Being obese is not and I can attest to it, is not healthy at all. Let's see what they have to say here, but that's before I go on and head and talk about this. Death rates 10 times higher in countries where most adults are overweight, report finds the risk. About 10 times half the population is overweight. Okay, so that's the end for it. Now let me discuss. Obesity is definitely not healthy. Our bodies, albeit evolved with the idea of storing fat, the excess of what we eat. So when it reaches a period of time where scarcity happens, and when we began evolving as humans, it was pretty much a guaranteed that it was going to happen, either in a day, a week, or in less than a month. It was definitely something that would happen. No ifs or buts, it would. And it was something that still happened quite, in most countries. Barely 100 years ago, it was something that could happen, and it still happened in a very common situation, as in very frequently. Sorry, I had to find a word inside my brain. Either way, it was a frequent situation, it was a frequent thing happening between up to 100 years or so ago, before the advent of very modern agricultural system. And the human body was definitely saw it the most successful humans based on during that time period were in fact those who are fat, those who managed to store a lot of fatness. So you see, the people who, which is why fat people is more common today. It's because the more the body managed to store, the more you survive, your chances of survival were higher. And so that's why it's very rare to find people who manages to eat a lot without getting fat. But either way, I was a veritable landwhale. In fact, I was so fat that every time I stepped on the floor, I would cause a small earthquake. In fact, I was an albino landwhale. I was Captain Ahab Nightmare. The only difference is that I was a land-based whale, not a sea whale. Either way, it was bad because it generated and gave me a lot of problems. For instance, I was knocking on diabetes' door. My sugar level, my glucose level was quite high. And then I also had a problem with my joints. This still is a problem because it killed me. For instance, my knees would hurt, my back was impossible. I couldn't stand or stand for myself for more than a couple of minutes without feeling mind-boggling, earth-shattering pain in my back, that it would even start cutting my respiration because the pain was massive. I had many other problems. I couldn't even reach and properly take a shower by myself and other things like that. Being fat, obesity is not healthy. Trust me, I've been there. And it's not something you want ever in your life, even to your worst enemy. It's not something you want. Obesity is bad. For instance, I did a gastric bypass, and since then I've been terrified of actually getting fat again, because right now I can walk, I can run, I can do anything I want. I can, for instance, spend my time building stuff, fixing shit around the home, and doing multiple things. I can actually see my dick again, which was, if we're going to place it into legal terms, it was legally dead until I did the gastric bypass. Yes, that's how bad it was. Trust me, you want to see your dick again if you're fat. And I can do anything, really. My breathing is much better. My blood pressure is minimal. In fact, when I'm exerting myself and doing a lot of exercise, my blood pressure barely even leaves normal. It's amazing. I can eat anything, but not in large quantities, and every time I start eating, I have to place myself, stop eating, stop eating, stop eating, you don't want to get fat, you don't want to get fat. It's something that wreaks havoc in your brain, but still, you need to take that into consideration. Obviously, I still have a lot of saggy skin that needs to be dealt with, but still, it's excellent. I was swallowing all the time when I was fat. My feet wasn't like a blob. Besides being fat, my ankles were like a blob of fatness, but still, it was still swelling on top of that. It was horrible. Right now, I can even see the veins. Look, the veins on my arms. I couldn't even see that in the past. Oh, look. That was how fat I was. You can see it's still on my very first few videos on this channel. If you want to reach way back in the past, even the videos I did before the surgery, I've been commenting on on Boogie298 on his surgery and his progress and things like that. You can see it. I did in 2017, same year he did, but 4 months or so difference between his surgery and mine. It's a market difference. It's a very, very big difference on what you can do when you're fat. Obviously, being fat actually ruined a few things. For instance, my knees sometimes hurt. My hips sometimes hurt because of the damage I did being fat. Because being fat actually destroys your body. Because your body, you were made to be a resistance hunter. As in, when the other animals were going to stop to cool off, you could then hunt them, because if they started to run again, they'll overheat and die. Well, meanwhile, you were already cooling. It's passive cooling. The others are active cooling. Your passive cooling is that you can sweat, and being a fat person, you lose all of that the body, the evolutionary traits of your body managed to do it. Right now, my balls are shorter, my stomach is smaller, and that gives me a certain advantage in regards to food processing, because now my body, everything it disposes of in most situations, and that's good. Especially because the food now is definitely, it has more fat content and stuff that you generally would be craving for 100 or so years ago. It's much easier to get to. And getting to segue into the agriculture is that with the agriculture now, people are more able to get what they want without overpaying, without sacrificing much. Albeit obviously it still happens, but still it's much easier to get the food, the stuff you want, even meat, than it did 100 or so years ago. Now, with the Industrial Revolution and all these things like that, canned food and things like that, cold storage, the fridge, and things like that, things can be fresher, more stuff can be shipped from much longer distances. and things like that. So obviously the body is going to suffer. It's gonna take a few thousand years of evolution for us to stop using or overly storing fat, but still, people, really, being fat is not healthy. I say so. I've been there. You don't want to be fat. Trust me, being fat is the worst possible thing you can do to yourself. I know there's a lot of things that leads to fatness. For instance, hunger eating. When you are hungry, you start eating, or when you're depressed, you start eating as well. Many other things like that, and it's not easy to deal with. Diets are an absolute pain in the fucking bunghole to deal with, and in most situations they don't help, because as soon as you leave it, you bounce back to double of what you were before. Sorry, double of what you lost, and it's not nice. I've already lost in weight. If I'm going to put it, think of me as two me's. I lost one of myself shitting it out. Yes, I shut myself out. I shut a copy of Jester out. That's how much weight I lost. Yes, I was weighing double what I am right now. So please, don't go on and believing that being fat is healthy. It is not. Trust me, I was fat. I was a Landwhale. I had problems sleeping. Fuck, it was so bad that I had to actually sleep on a couch. With my head lifted like this, sitting, because I couldn't take sleeping on a bed anymore. Now, I don't even snore. Before, I was like the Jake brake of a truck. That's how bad. That's how bad I would wake up everything and everyone in a mile radius. That's how bad it was. Trust me. Really, being fat destroys your body. Please lose weight. Don't go look for a doctor. Search for a gastric bypass and things like that. It will make a difference. Trust me. You want to see your dick again, or your taco if you are a woman, womanist. So trust me, and I know it hurts when people are ashamed of being fat or ashamed for being fat, but it's another thing that you need to be aware of, that sometimes people do it not only out of malice, though obviously there's malice and being funny on that, but because they don't want you to be fat anymore, because being fat is bad, really bad. And the worst thing is that the fat acceptance movement is doing more harm than good. In fact, I think the fat acceptance movement needs to be stopped, dissolved, and mocked to death. That's how you must do it. Anyway, thank you for... No, not the outro. I fumbled the outro again. So, on that note, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you want more Tamer content, stay right here on KarenTube.com/Dr. Jester. YouTube.com/Dr. Jester. Karens. Anyway, BeatShoot.com/Dr. Jester for spicy content. Minds.com/Dr. Jester for that spicy content. Exclusive content. That sometimes I fail to do because there's nothing worth ranting for that ends up in there sometimes. So mostly I just mirror my videos in those places because, quite frankly, Karen is out of control. Anyway, thank you for watching. See, that's what I should do it. Thank you for watching.